I want to first talk about the absurdity of promoting myself as a coach. Jeez, how contradictory there is. This whole culture of asking for money to be of service. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in doing that, but for me, there's just a big part of me that wants to make really meaningful impacts on people. And imagine a doctor or a chiropractor who can fix a cracked neck or a misalignment, and it takes 5 minutes to go and return someone's spine in alignment so that their experience of pain can be gentle and suddenly they feel like they have their body and vitality intact. There's a similar impulse of pain and suffering that at this age of where I'm at, if I can help someone in a efficient way that can really steer the course of their lives into a direction that's more holistic, healing, happier, I just have this urge to do more and more of that. And I'm curious, what would it look like to have a financially successful coaching business practice? And I still have this rule where I'm like, I don't want to be completely wealthy from coaching. I don't want millions of dollars at all from coaching. I have other ideas because I do want to be rich. I have ideas of apps and TV shows and other ways that I think would be better avenues for making money. But with that said, I'm here and coming out here on social media to educate you, because how can you utilize me if you don't know what I'm offering? It makes sense. All right, how did I become a coach, or why TDM? The first thing most people don't know about me is that when I was 16, I became a certified hypnotist. I was one of the youngest people in the largest guilds, and I met a man, this master trainer of hypnotism in Queens, that was willing to train me in this 300-hour training program for hypnotism. And hypnotism sounded cool as hell. Like, can I snap a person's mind from one state of understanding to another? How powerful is mind control in the most cliche sense? And as 16-year-old being like, if I could shift my mind from not wanting to eat junk food to wanting to eat healthy food, or I could shift somebody else's mind from smoking to not wanting to smoke, give me that power. Like, let's do some things with the world. Towards the end of my practice, I did cool things. Maybe 60 to 70% of people, I could talk them into having them press together their hands, and then they couldn't open their hands, as if glue has stuck their hand, has covered their hands, and it was unmovable. And then with a snap of a finger, all of a sudden their hands were free again. So there were different physical phenomenons that I did find working for me in going out and practicing hypnotism. And my mentor at the time, my teacher who certified me, was like, hey, Balwin, all right, here's the thing. Here's the thing they don't tell you that you got to start doing. Say, here are the scripts to getting someone to quit cigarettes. If you find someone that is smoking a pack, yes, you can get them to stop smoking a pack after one session. Then you lose a client. So what you got to do, Balwin, is prolong it. Go from 12 cigarettes to 10 cigarettes, 10 to 8. Break it down, 6 sessions, 7 sessions. So that's how you really make the money in doing this. And the minute he told me that, I was like, oh, I am totally out of this shit. This is maybe what the problem is of unlicensed things. That people can exploit you. And yes, he's using this technology of hypnotism and suggestion that could help people. But what this guild or what this person is teaching me is just felt morally off to me, and not something I trusted. And also, a lot of it felt like, oh, did you stop craving McDonald's? Did it work? Like, oh no. And like, people would report, oh shit, yeah, no, I started having McDonald's 2 weeks later. And I'm like, So I also found that the tools that I was given, it wasn't as effective to make me be like, this is the thing that I want to sign my life up for. And plus the moral aspect, I'm like, I think I got to go more conventional. I think I got to go to like license things that are regulated, so that I can feel morally like I'm actually helping people to the fullest extent of what's possible. Got me on the path of going to college, and by the time I graduated, gave up the hypnotism thing, learned about psychology, learned about how scientists have been studying to see what works and what not works, and had all these ideas of what worked, and just looking for like, what is the most effective way to help people with suffering? What is the most effective way to help me with suffering? I see freaking agony everywhere. I felt like shit. I didn't understand how to maintain my happiness. Everyone I hear, most people are often just expressing, yeah, how's your day? It's okay. Like this okayness, or this just getting byness, or this struggling. Marriage is falling apart, people cheating, betrayal. The list of the causes of suffering was everywhere, and I wanted some secret understanding to create this clear-cut trajectory of joyous, happy, vital way of living. And psychology was helpful in learning models, but the thing that my takeaway when I was in graduate school, first takeaway is, at least what I'm 37 now, so this is almost 15 years ago. And I say that because science is constantly evolving. What was the most effective truth in the meta studies? Meta study is like a study that looks at all the studies in a related topic and summarizes it. Could have changed with all of the things going, but this is a key piece of what has guided me on the path of why I became a TDM coach. And when I graduated back 15 years ago in getting my master's, what I learned was most forms of therapy in helping any type of problem, in general, the highest success rates were somewhere between 40 and 60%. The only two areas where psychologists about 15 years ago that I literally wrote my graduating paper on this, my master's thesis, saying how unpleased I was with these facts, that psychologists seem to have a 90% success rate in helping children or adults not wet themselves if they're sleeping in bed. And also with phobia, they had two different forms of therapy that they found quite successful consistently. 90% success rate, I like that. That means 9 out of 10 people I meet applying this, I know I'm gonna have a positive impact. If it's a 50%, if it's a 55%, if it's a 45%, and then the criteria of success is, oh, these people 2 months later on a survey from 1 to 10 on how much better they got, they rated a 7 out of 10 rather than a 5 out of 10. That counts as success. That is not convincing for me. And my takeaway from what the studies have showed, that there was nothing that impressed me to be impactful enough in a consistent manner of really helping someone change their lives in a meaningful way in a faster pace. I wanted therapy or the impact of my help to be similar to how I saw doctors or surgeons actually, or even masseuses and body workers. Like, if I have a freaking kink in my neck, I have a session, that shit that's liberated. I am feeling loose and limber and free. If I go to a doctor, I am coming out of it completely cleansed from the obstruction in my artery with an opening that is letting my heart pump. That's the criteria of success that I like. My role model, one of my role models is Jesus. The miracle that's possible of one healing moment to complete transformation. There's benevolence in wanting to deliver that for others, and there was just such suffering in my life that I couldn't understand what was causing it. And so there was a part of me that was looking for that for myself as well. The other thing that I found that was super meaningful was the power of listening and trust between two people. There was a psychologist named Carl Rogers who really broke down, dissected non-judgmental, compassionate listening. Someone who is receiving healthy listening, non-judgmental listening. That in itself, psychologists found to create about 35 to 40% resolution to whatever problem was being presented. This, I'm not speaking about extreme cases like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, deeper things. I'm not even a licensed psychologist, so I'm not even classifying things a label. That's actually not my realm. I understand who I can help and who I can't help, and there's certain things that I need, like the ability to be understood in my speech, to have an attention span that can stay with my conversation. Doesn't mean if you drift off that that's a full issue, but there's certain basics, which is why you don't go for a healing session. I don't go for a healing session when someone's intoxicated or something. Anyway, side rant of the necessity of a certain criteria of health, this model of TDM and this type of coaching to be effective. All right, so I did hypnotism, disappointed. I got my master's degree, didn't find any form of psychology to be useful. They're useful in their own right in different contexts, but inspiring enough for me to feel like I got something that I want to bring to the world, that I know that could help people in a way that I envision is possible, which is having 1-2 sessions and that person walking away uplifted, resolved in their suffering and getting what they wanted. I wanted to be that effective and helpful. And so I did a lot of things to chip away at my own suffering. I've did ice baths and learned how to diet well, and wrestled my mind with going to the gym and taking care of my body and having these lifestyle, really learning the relationship between body and mind, and what I do to create health in my body gets reflected in my mind, and also vice versa. If I start thinking shitty thoughts, if I start dwelling on suffering of the past, then it actually just starts to be revealed in my body, in my posture, and learning that it's like the body mind are a reciprocal system. And so, pushing my own understandings of embodying the useful things I learned about psychology, living and exploring different coaching modalities, looking for something that will really wow me on, wow, this is actually helping people resolve issues in an efficient way, and that doesn't create dependency on the person facilitating the help. So long story short, I did a different kind of training program. I started doing many different types of training programs. And in this different coaching program, they brought a bunch of guest speakers. And one of them was Dr. Robert McDonald, the founder of the Telos Destination Method. And he blew me away. He had us do this exercise. One issue he found for coaches, kind of coaching coaches, is how coaches take on the issue. One of the pitfalls of humility, of being empathically open, is getting stuck in that field. So if I become too compassionate listening to somebody's problems and I start suffering with that person, which compassion is, one definition that I believe in is compassion is suffering with someone, an expansion of heart to suffer with your fellow man. And that's often what many good coaches and therapists do, and parents do, friends do. And the pitfall of that is getting stuck in that frame where I start holding on to this person's pain and keeping it with me, and it lingers in me. So he has just everybody in this 250 people auditorium learning different techniques on coaching better, and he had everyone go, I am I, you are you, you and I are different. You're over there, I'm over here. So if I pinch myself and this hurts you, that's your problem. This is my pain, so this is my problem. And geez, when I saw him pinch himself, I was like, ow. And that shit was a wake up to me. I was like, holy moly, look at me creating suffering in me. He is hurting himself to demonstrate. That pinch looks painful as hell, but if I'm making that my suffering, that's an imbalance of my use of empathy. It's actually unhealthy. I am here. He is he, you are you. We are different. And understanding my sovereignty was a huge wake-up call, and I was just like, oh, this guy sees some deep, nuanced perspectives on how to hold helping people. So I signed up for a coaching program, a coaching session with him one-on-one. And I was maybe 26 at the time, so this is about 11 years ago. I was like, okay, what is something that I have been struggling with? And yeah, at this point in my journey, I was really aware. I'm aware of suffering. I'm aware of what sufferings am I experiencing on a daily basis. How can I experience less of them? Yeah, side note, or just a little tangent about that. I meditate a lot. Meditating is a beautiful practice in creating observation of what's arising. And meditating from 16 to 26, all I would meditate on are things I would notice. So my meditation practice for many of the time is noticing the sensations on my head and just scanning down my body, noticing the sensation here, noticing the sensation here, and just going scanning all the way down to my feet, then coming back up the back of my body and just spending 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, observing what's arising. One thing Buddhists believe is everything is constantly changing. And in the practice of meditation, the thing I could trust is no matter what I experience, if I kept my attention on it and kept observing, it would change. This tension I feel right here, this density, as I'm paying attention to it right now, my attention is drawn here, just observing this tightness here and this little softness here and this pull going backwards. And now I'm feeling more tingling. There's magical catalyst of awareness where it speeds up the process of change. Anything my attention is on. Now, if I was on it and I was like criticizing it, like, oh my God, you suck. How are you tense? Why are you tense? Now, that is causing, like, I'm aggravating it through my words and through my mind. Okay, why am I bringing all this up? 10, 11 years of my life, 16 to 26, meditating every day. Something happened at the age of 25 where I was like, wait a second. There is so much discomfort from head to toe. And I learned how to just notice it, be with it, be patient with it, and over time it would decrease. But the mindset came to me, this is a sign that there's discomfort and pain in my body. What do I need to do so that when I sit down for my meditation practice, what I don't notice is pain, but the primary thing of what I'm noticing is pleasure or relaxation at the very least. And as I got down this rabbit hole, one thing I noticed that my thoughts that my mind would recurringly do is the shame of being fat. I got beat up a lot as a boy, struggled with food for most of my adolescence. I got really obsessive with losing weight by running many hours, and it was just an up and down battle hill. And the truth was, in my late 20s, one thing I would notice on an everyday basis, I couldn't wear clothes without feeling concerned of the weight. Any new person I met, positioning my body so that I didn't look fat. I could ask 10 people like, hey, am I fat? They would even reflect no. And in my eyes, I was like, I'm fat. It was something just weighing me the fuck down, even if it wasn't true, and especially when it was true. It was just so obvious with this idea of how do I live with the mindset where I'm actually okay with however my physical body is presented. The way my body is right now is a reflection of all the choices that I made for the last 37 years. This is all that it is. And it doesn't mean it has to be that tomorrow. And I have complete choice about my body. What I don't want to be experienced anymore is every 30-minute hypercritical analysis of why this body looks ugly, why I don't feel good, how can I manage avoiding people from seeing that about me. It was a fucking hell in my mind. I don't think anybody had the depth of idea of understanding of it. And I was like, all right, this guy, Robert, I think he can help me out with it. So I went to him. I said, yeah, man, I have all of these thoughts. I'm fat. And it's this feeling like I feel this weight of heaviness. And it's literally true. And Sharon, about all of the depths of what was going on with this experience of calling myself fat and feeling fat, and then all the shame attached to that. And it's layered. A TDM session is 2 hours, and it's well needed. And what was the most surprising thing, he took me through a TDM process. There's various tools in the TDM model, just like a surgeon knows what tools to use to take out an unwanted object out of the body in a safe way so the body can heal. There are specific categories of the way where the mind creates suffering that there are ways to resolve. And so there's different types of ways the mind suffer. One is a conflict, like, fuck, I want to be fat. I want to eat whatever I want to eat whenever I want to do it. There's a part of me that just wants to be lazy and slack off, and all of that is tied to being fat. I want to be fat. I don't want to be fat. I want to be skinny, light, healthy, make choices, vibrant, and energies. I have these two opposing forces. One wanting to be heavy, one wanting to be light. One wanting to be fat, one wanting to be thin. Both are true. Both are influencing me. And now I'm incomplete in meeting each, so I'm constantly disappointed. How do you integrate opposing parts? I really think the world needs better understanding. Polarity exists. Life, most things are on a continuum between opposites. And opposites, how do opposites integrate, working together to evolve something new that honors both of the needs and desires of both pieces? Here's the thing that I wanted to share. Towards the end, he asked, oh, is there any part of you that has any objections? And my heart just started squeezing, and I started crying. It made no sense. Just asking me the question why my heart was hurting. He was very patient with me and very curious and sincere, and asked me, like, what's going on with your heart? And I was like, I have no idea. And all I could start seeing in my mind's eye was my mother. My mother was calling me fat. And he brought me to the awareness of how deeply important this was to me, but also how there was a way, my identity of being fat, there was a part of me that wanted to be fat because it kept me close with my mother. And it doesn't necessarily have to make sense. What I want you guys to take away from this story of my experience is how profound your mind is in sharing, like, the truth of your depth. A conviction of the TDM model is every part of you is actively in love with you. And I don't think things are as simple as, oh, let's stop this one thought. You're fat. Think something else. Like, I think we're quite surface on things. But really awakening me to the depth of love for the part of me that wanted me to be fat, and all the love behind it, and all the ways it was seeking love by believing that, just cracked me open, and my body shifted from that experience. And it got me just damn curious. What is this TDM stuff? And it was really cool. As I got to know Robert, I started to understand he was a master hypnotist in his own right, an NLP master, and he created something that brought the tools of these different modalities that I was drawn to as a child and as a early adolescence, and incorporated a spiritual outlook of understanding the nature of goodness within people. Integrated these two parts, the listening part, the profound compassion, the profundity of that coaching session, and the results were life-changing. There was no day after that where I felt shame about my body. I don't feel shame about it. I'm pretty much top weight right now that I've been since many years. I'm like 190 something, and my joy zone is 170, and there's just no suffering about it. That part of me that would spend hours of my day in shame managing, all of that mental resources in my brain is free to do the things that I want to do. So that experience in itself really rocked my boat and being like, okay, this guy got something. And then watching demo after demo of him helping someone who was completely bedridden, like able to walk again from one no, I think it was 2 sessions. Stories like that of personal people that I meet whose lives have shifted really has me impressed on what this modality has to model. That journey of finding something that I felt transformational experience after a session that really changed the quality and experiences of my mind that I also have witnessed happen for others. This thing that I was seeking for back in my hypnotism days of like, oh, someone can't stop eating, I think it was Twinkies. No, maybe it was chocolate. I don't know, one of those foods. And after one session, she no longer had that impulse. Share one other success story. I had a client who couldn't get in a car because he was constantly scared the car would crash. And his girlfriend was about to break up with him after they were dating for 2 years because she really wanted to take a road trip. She really felt frustrated by him having so much pain in just going to the grocery store, things like that. And she was at the breaking point. And he came to me and he was like, Balwin, like my relationship is on the line. I need to learn how to get in a car and how to feel safe in it. And boom, literally one session with him. Called me up the next week. He was like, yeah, man. I'm like, we had a road trip. We're gonna do another one. There was this one moment where a truck almost came that I did start to freak out. But besides that one moment, it's been good. It's like not even a problem anymore. Help is really available if the structures are understood and the right amount of compassion. And TDM delivers that for me.